Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, this is Orphanlast, aka Skylar Madison, and welcome to the Draconian Rain channel. Now, I'd actually like to give a special thanks to Draconian Rain for allowing me to post a video here on her channel. And the idea behind this collaboration is that I draw a picture on her channel, and then she goes ahead and continues the image by coloring it. And then she does the same thing on my channel. She goes ahead and draws an image on my channel, and then I continue the image by just coloring it and all that good stuff. And hopefully this collaboration works out. Like, seriously, it'd be really great, because I've actually had correspondence with Draconian Rain on Twitter for quite some time now, and you know, we kind of have a little bit of plans for the future on my channel and such like that, where she basically is hoping to teach me how to use Blender 2.8 on my channel, and that would be pretty cool. I would really appreciate that, and I've always wanted to learn how to use 3D animation software as well as 3D modeling and all that. And really, Blender is kind of the best of every world out there when it comes to 3D, in the sense that, you know, you don't need ZBrush, you got Blender. You don't need Maya, you got Blender. You don't need Poser, you got Blender. You don't need anything other than Blender, really. Blender is the one-stop shop for all things 3D animation, and I think that's awesome. But anyways, let me go ahead and talk a little bit about this particular image right here. Now, right now I'm using the program Sketchbook Pro. This is the first time that I've actually used Sketchbook Pro to draw an image start to finish, and I've got to say that I actually had a horrible experience. Now, I understand that this program has been a commercial piece of software for decades now, and it's been used by professionals year in and year out and all that. I understand that. I just hated everything about the experience. The UI is ugly. It's not intuitive. It's kind of stupid. None of the brushes work the way that they should for a commercial piece of software. I mean, for crying out loud, Photoshop has better brushes than this program. Like, undeniably much better. The even a free open source program like Krita outdoes Sketchbook Pro in just about every area. Like, every single way, Krita is better. Just undeniably. It's not even a contest, really. The brush engine on Krita totally outdoes this. This is not a program I'm thinking about using very heavily in the near future at all. This program, just complete and total disappointment. But the reason why I decided to draw this particular image, just a guy sitting on his couch relaxing. There's a number of reasons, okay? One of the first reasons that I'll mention, it's not really a very important reason, but, you know, it's personal. It's something that has to do with me. I actually got injured at work fairly recently, and the injury made it so that I was just sitting inside of a air-conditioned room day in and day out, just kind of relaxing until I could actually recover. And then my first day at work, actually the first few days at work, were actually kind of miserable. The weather out here gets to being 106, 112 degrees during the summer. And that's the first week back from the injury. Just out in that heat, and yeah, you know, I work outdoors. It's very rare that I actually work inside of a nice air-conditioned room or anything like that. It's very rare that happens. So, you know, I was drawing this during that point in time while I was just barely coming back to work, and all I could think of was, man, I just want to go to sleep. And so, for some reason, what I decided to draw was just the thing that I wanted to experience the most: rest. And I think I actually wound up drawing an image of somebody who genuinely needed to rest. Now, at this point, I was really unhappy with the placement of that arm and the hand and all that. It kind of looked like he probably had his hand down his pants or something, and I didn't really like that. And I kind of started to ask the question, well, would you even really be able to see that hand? So, or that arm or anything from that angle, with everything so foreshortened from this point of view and all that. So I ultimately got rid of that arm, and you know, it just seemed like it worked a heck of a lot better that way. And so the other reason why I decided to draw this particular image the way it is because, you know, you look at someone like Todd McFarlane, okay? Todd McFarlane was the best comic book artist of the 1990s. Like, without a question. He sold the most number of copies per magazine, comic book, or whatever. Like, unquestionably, he was the top-selling comic book artist. People loved his artwork. It was just amazing. And he brought in the graphic design element into the panel layout of comic books, and he did a lot of things. Like Todd McFarlane made Spider-Man popular in the 1990s. For some reason, Spider-Man's popularity kind of had a drop-off right after the 1980s, and it was Todd McFarlane that made Spider-Man popular again. Not only that, but Todd McFarlane is the guy, the artist, that created Spawn. Okay, and so Spawn is one of my favorite comic book characters. I mean, my favorite comic book of all time is when Batman and Spawn meet, which is just the coolest crossover ever. Image Comics and DC Comics having a crossover. That was kind of cool. It's just this really small company able to become so big that they actually had a crossover with DC. That's cool to me. But anyways, Todd McFarlane. People come over to Todd McFarlane every once in a while and they ask, what is the hardest thing to draw for you? And this is the way that Todd McFarlane answers that question. He says, well, it's really easy to draw an action scene or a scene of a bunch of people holding guns and shooting them and you know, warfare. That's easy to draw. It's extremely exciting and stuff like that. It's easy to get people to gravitate towards an image that is exciting, that has action inside of it. But the hardest thing to draw in the world is something boring, and somehow managing to give it some sort of dramatic element or give it something that makes it so that that image is actually worth looking at. That actually compels people to look at it. And so that's one of the reasons why I decided to draw this particular image in and of itself, primarily because an experienced artist saying that an image that doesn't have too much action going on in it, that right there, that's the hardest thing to draw. And so this gets me to think things like, okay, well, if you're able to, say, draw something that normally would actually be somewhat painful to draw, something like something so boring that it would bore an artist to tears normally. If you're able to, say, draw a pair of scissors sitting on the top of a desk, okay, if you were just to kind of not necessarily draw the entire desk, but just the tabletop of the desk, that normally is boring. And the idea of drawing it sounds boring. No one wants to do that. However, if you are the artist that is able to draw that pair of scissors sitting on a desk, and you're able to do it in such a way that it's every bit as compelling as a picture with warfare, a picture with a bunch of exciting stuff going on, then you know how to draw the hardest thing to draw. If you're able to draw that sort of thing, then you're kind of on your way to becoming one of the best artists out there. If you can get people to look at a picture full of warfare and conflict and all this excitement and such, and you're able to somehow get people to kind of think, you know what, I don't know which picture to kind of look at, which one I like more. The picture with the pair of scissors on a desktop, or the picture with warfare. That is a sign, that right there is the sign of a great artist. Someone who's able to make something that's normally boring, that would bore an artist to tears to draw. somehow managing to make something like that interesting and entertaining. And whether or not it's with your prowess with the pencil and able to make something that actually looks amazing and stuff like that with your skills with the pencil and stuff, or whether or not it's with the composition, or both, and such like that. So that is some of the reason why I decided to draw this picture. Those two reasons right there. Because, you know, if you're able to make a picture of somebody that looks like he needs rest, and you're still able to somehow make it look like an entertaining image, well, you know what? I think at that point, you've proven your point that you're a good artist. And, you know what? I'll leave it up to you guys to decide. So, once again, I'd like to thank Draconian Rain for allowing me to be on her channel. And that pretty much concludes it for you guys. If you guys would like to take a look at my channel, feel free to click on the link in the video description below. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And if you guys would like to take a look at more of the content made by Draconian Rain, feel free to click on any of the videos appearing on the screen right now. Thank you very much for your time.